Hi, Darius. How are you?
Great, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. I really loved your film. I thought it was very, I don't know if it's heartwarming, but it's a nice way to portray somebody going through this tragedy. Is a musician who's losing his hearing, and he's also a former drug addict. So you're taking away the only means of coping.
The balance,
So, and it's his
yes.
adventure, or not adventure, but his mission to, or he's trying to, figure out how to handle this. How did you come up with the idea?
No, I like the way you frame that. I really like the way you frame that. It's very simple and very true that we have our band-aids and our ways of living with these monsters inside us, and that's kind of the way that it was written, and then Riz just brought so much to that. And it started years ago, many years ago, actually decades ago now. And I met Derek C in France about 13 years ago, and he was filming this band Jucifer, and they're like a couple like this that live and play this very loud music on the road. And so this real band inspired this movie, and that process was the seed for this.
Yeah, definitely get the Strokes vibe from
Yeah.
Ruben and Lou. So what was it like having them rehearse? Olivia was telling me that they rehearsed a lot. She's the singer, guitar player, and he's the drummer.
We had a really high bar for what we wanted to do with this, which was really frightening for these poor actors. Oh boy. I mean, but that's what makes things palpable. That's when we really feel something, is when there's that much at stake. And they had to really earn this because we played it live. We played it in a club in Boston with a live audience. There is nothing faked in this whatsoever. It was even shot so that it couldn't be faked. So like you might notice there's not like close-ups on the hands that someone else can do and all this crap that's usually done in movies. It was entirely legit. And what that meant is that they had to earn that. And it was a ton of practice. It was a ton of work. And it's an amazing testament to those guys as artists.
And you used background actors who are deaf, right? Did you have to make sure that you wanted to include
Deafness
people?
can't be played. That's not something that can be done and should never be done. It's just the same as playing any culture, which we would frown on blackface, as we should. People portraying deafness, it's such an insult. And I don't represent deaf culture, but I was invited in, and they represent themselves. And a culture is a culture, and deaf culture has many subcultures and many aspects to it. But one thing it can't be is faked.
Besides starring, did you also provide some consultation to be respectful about the community and maybe just some of the representations?
Darius asked me several things along the way, and I just always reminded him the one thing is deaf people always say about themselves in the community is nothing about us without us. In other words, if you want to make a movie about us, do some consultation with some deaf people, see if you're portraying them right. And so he did that. He did a lot of homework. It was a learning curve for him, but he was willing to learn every day.
And I'm assuming a lot of the extras were actually people from that community.
All deaf, yes.
Right. Well, I love the sound, how you used to show how you made the audience part of the losing of his hearing.
Yeah, it's a very committed first-person perspective, and that sound design was a real experiment. It was something that I hadn't seen or heard before, and that's what made it so tantalizing. As a cinematic journey, it was really hard. I mean, it was a 23-week sound mix, just the mix, and it started years before we even shot. So it took a huge amount of lifting to achieve that, but it's great when you have that goal and you just have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing to find it. And I had a great team, a really incredible team. I'm very lucky.
Well, congratulations. I think that really pulls in the audience to be part of this journey for him.
Right. Yeah, I think it's certainly fresh, and it challenges the audience, but I think you're right. I think it challenges and intrigues.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.